Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody going? This is USCJ, and we here. Listen, we got some recapping to do. We had a big win Saturday, and listen, it is straight up go time. Shout out to Phil. Phil, what's up, my man? Phil saying, Big J, what's up? I
What up?
got
What up, Phil?
one of the favorites here, John Walker. Man, he's just going to recap. What's up, Phil? He's going to recap with us, and we want to talk about this big win. And he was actually Oscar. What's up, my man? He was on the field. He was on the field. He had both seats. He had the stadium field seat as well as on the field. And he kind of described some things to me yesterday. So we just want to kind of recap that. John, how you doing, man? I appreciate you coming on once
Yes,
again.
sir. Yes, sir. I'm loving this Victory Monday.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we
So
got
we
us
want to get
up.
into it, man. How do you think everything went as it relates to did it exceed expectations? The first win, man. Or I mean, what do you think? Being that it was Rice.
Okay, so that's a little bit to unpack. But my initial thought was when I was at the stadium, my initial thought was this feels familiar.
Yeah,
This feels this feels like good energy that I used to feel about
right,
15 some odd years ago. So
right.
that's the first thing I recognized. And the crazy thing is there wasn't a huge crowd in attendance. Like
Hmm.
there was a substantial amount of people, but the house wasn't packed, right?
Right.
But even so, it was still rocking just like it was 90,000 in there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that really let me know that like the Trojan appetite in the arena, we were hungry for what we experienced this weekend.
Absolutely.
And when I looked at the players, they didn't have the same playfulness on the
Mhm.
sidelines that I've witnessed in the past 5 to 6
Explain. Can
years.
you elaborate on that? Because
I
it's in
can.
the past, it's been a lot of with the Helton regime, and it's no knock on him. God bless him. But it's been a lot of the undisciplined characteristics of the team. Certain things were taking place, and as a result, you found that to translate over to the field. Can you elaborate on no playfulness?
I definitely can. Everyone that I could get my eyes on, from the O line to the specialist,
And you were on the sideline.
I was on the
Yeah.
sideline. So pregame, I walked around the field for about 45 minutes or so before kickoff, just standing next to each position group,
Hmm.
at least the ones that I could get direct access to. And really, I just wanted to hear how the coaches were interacting with them, the level of mental and emotional preparedness before they played. And I have the luxury of kind of identifying the more premier players, the guys who are going to have the most activity on the field. So I was observing the starters for sure, and they were turned up. Their level was way up.
Way up.
And then I was observing those that will be more the supporting players, the secondary guys, the backups, who are all significant, and everybody pretty much played in this game. And
Right.
it showed because when I was standing next to the O line, the second group, usually they're tapped in, but they're not as locked in as the first guys.
Right.
And I'm telling you, everybody was locked in and connected. It was hard to distinguish the starters from those who may be coming in as secondary support. That was
Right.
awesome to see from the O line standpoint, which is why it looked like they really performed well. Like when
Absolutely.
you watch them with the complexities of this offense, all of those young men performed very well. That was really,
Absolutely.
really great to see. And
Absolutely.
then the receivers, man, they are ice cold.
Go.
They
Go.
they're dangerous.
Dangerous.
Every single one of them. I don't think there was a drop or a bad step or misplaced route in pregame. Everything looked game speed.
And see, the thing is, John,
Everything.
that speaks to the rally regime and the discipline that has been implemented
Mhm.
in this roster, man. Because prior to this, I mean, everybody, you will see the starters. It would probably be a gap between the starters and second and third string. But now it seems like everybody, it's hard to, like you said, distinguish between the two. Everybody's on go mode right now. Everybody has discipline implemented in their play, and it really speaks to the coaches and all the things that they've been implemented thus far in fall camp. And you can kind of see that. And I know it's right, but you can kind of see that. You see the same thing.
The fact that they prepared at that level of intensity, discipline, self-awareness, mental and emotional availability. And I say mental and emotional because for a lot of them, it's their first time in the Coliseum.
Right.
So you have to actually be present in the stadium, and you also have to be emotionally sound to not be overwhelmed by the lights of that stadium.
Right.
But when I say I saw a lot of mental and emotional availability, it seemed as though a lot of those young men were just comfortable in their space. And that's a big thing, because the Coliseum it's a legendary stadium. You got crazy screaming folks all over the place. There's more media attention than most facilities. Like there's everywhere you look, there's some type of broadcaster or camera just pointing stuff in your face. And so I loved to see that, even though this was Rice, and I don't underestimate Rice, because those boys can play, and I think they're going to give a lot of teams some fits.
Absolutely. And that's what I was trying to tell some people. Last year, at the beginning of the season, they played Arkansas, which went 9-4 last season. They went to Arkansas. The stadium was packed, about 80,000 people, and they gave Arkansas fits all the way to the fourth quarter. It was a tight game, and I was trying to explain that to people. So I think they're better, and they had all their starters back. A lot of people was hurt. They're better than what people think. They're not just no Bama, but we know that they're better than what a lot of people give them credit for.
Right. That's right. And maybe they got a little starstruck in the Coliseum lights, because it's uncustomary to see the receivers tip so many balls. I would say that it's uncustomary for the Rice receivers to not catch as many balls as they
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So also that's a byproduct of, again, being mentally and emotional available. And that's
right.
But even though it was Rice, our fellas went out there like it was like a Bama or a Georgia.
Right.
They went out there with the same respect that they would play the toughest level of competition for like a top 10, top 5 matchup. That was the difference that I recognized, that was very, very tangibly, visibly noticeable, that
absolutely.
And our players, it didn't matter who the other squad was, they were prepared at the highest level. They were prepared at the highest possible clip. And that made me feel so good to see, like, okay, they're not about to sleep on this opportunity. They're engaged.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that the media brought up early on during fall camp was the fact that, and I think everything that Lincoln Riley does is strategic. I think the fact that they were practicing inside the Coliseum, because a lot of people brought that up. They said that, why is Lincoln Riley bringing these guys in the college? He was strategic about this. He understood, as to your point, what you were saying, the starstruckness about the Coliseum itself. You get these guys acclimated to playing in this type of place, and once you get to the game, it's go time, and there's no real starstruckness about it. You just go in there and make things happen.
Yeah. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know is the grass in the Coli, it's fast. It's a very fast turf. Like, it's almost made like a putting green.
Right.
I will be willing to say that it's very close to a putting green. So you don't get many blades coming out of the grass. And it's a speed type field.
Yeah.
It's very fast. It's faster to me than a lot of the synthetic grass that these kids play on.
Right.
And if you pay attention to a lot of, like, even Jordan Addison, with how fast his turnover is in his stride. Man, my guy, and I love him. I think he executed excellent, but he slipped like 5 or 6 times.
I've seen a couple of guys slip.
And so that takes a lot to get used to. It takes a lot to understand, like, the type of stride that you need to actually run aggressive on the Coliseum grass. Now, I don't feel like he's going to fall for that again, because every time he made one of his aggressive cuts, like, you could see a little slip. There was like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little deviation. Even for Raleigh, for Corey Foreman, I'm
yeah,
watching like the speed dudes, and I'm watching them kind of slip a little bit, and I'm thinking, yeah,
yeah,
that and Rice was sliding all over the place.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
were slipping and sliding, and it's not a bad grass. It's just fast. And
yeah.
if you don't have your feet under you, and if your body's not in control, you're gonna slide out.
Have to do
So
proper planting your feet in that ground before you make them cuts.
100%. So I love that Coach Riley had the young men just getting accustomed to that type of terrain.
Absolutely.
It is important, and it was pretty much 100 degrees down there, and the guys just they never showed signs of fatigue. Never, not one person looked tired. They,
Right,
they never, no one cramped, no one was dehydrated like we've seen in the past.
right,
Nobody had any knick-knack injuries from soft collision. Like I remember dudes tearing their ACLs in their very first play of the game
right.
last 2 seasons. Like they get in, they make a tackle on the sideline, and they're going for the season. And I'm thinking, this is a byproduct of a lack of preparation.
Preparation. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
all of the squad where they were so hyped, they was high-fiving each other.
Yeah.
You could see the very personal dynamics from the sideline perspective. Matter of fact, I got a clip from when I was behind the huddle. I was using my phone, and I was just watching some of the guys walk over to their teammates, even different position groups,
Hmm.
and just whisper, like kind of whisper just directly to them. And then the other guy looked at him, and they did like kind of like a little technique, and
Yeah.
then dapped each other up like that's what you need. Like
Absolutely.
that's what's gonna work against that dude. And then you see that guy go out on the field with more confidence. I was like, yo, I love the interaction.
Absolutely.
I love Shane Lee's poise.
Oh man, he's a leader, man. He
I'm
is a
talking
leader.
about super composure.
Yeah.
Right? I love Eric Gentry's energy. That dude he's on full
He's a
throttle.
monster, man. He
He's
was
so
sticking. Hey, that guy was sticking. I can't, his body is so slender, but the fact that he sticks his head in there, the way that he sticks his head in there, I mean, to be like that, I mean, he is a playmaker, man,
he's a
and
menace.
causes problems on
He's a
at
menace.
the linebacker position.
He's a real menace. He's a problem. He want every bit of the smoke for everybody. It don't matter. It don't matter who. Yo, they had a little real shifty running back, Montgomery, #1. He got loose a few times.
Yeah.
That kid had an awareness on how to use the ref, bro. He really knew how to use the ref to set picks.
Yeah.
When he was
And he's a little bitty guy, though, right? Is that
yeah,
a little bitty guy?
he was playing hide and seek back there.
Yeah.
But look, but Eric Gentry was at 6'6", and that dude was probably every bit of 5'8".
Yeah.
Eric Gentry was able to get low enough to make great contact on that guy.
Yeah.
It just shows the level of the equipment that he has within himself. Like he understands exactly how to play that linebacker position. I think he's going to be an All-American. I'm calling it now. I think.
Oh yeah. Well, last year he was actually freshman All-American last year. So you're absolutely right on about that.
No surprise. No surprise.
Can you speak? I want to talk about the defense, but can you speak to what you were telling me yesterday about how you were standing? Now you've been around big time players. You played it with big time players, and you know how the physical in stature they're supposed to be. Can you speak to how you mentioned to me about how they look next to you standing? Yeah. No flabbiness or whatever. Tell me what you were saying about that.
Absolutely. So the general consensus that I got and I'm a coach as well, so I'm always looking at those attributes, those baseline attributes on what a high level performer is supposed to look like. And I'm going to tell you right now, our squad is super lean.
Yeah.
Like, there was nobody carrying around excess body fat. Nobody that was just a bunch of jelly bellies running around. Like the old linemen, they're very top heavy.
Yeah.
It's like chest, arms, and shoulders. It's not in the gut. Which is different, because I'm thinking, yeah, man, they're going to have way more sustainable energy. They're going to have faster get-offs. The receivers, everybody had guns, bro. Like them dudes, I was like, yo, look at everybody's guns was loaded. Brendan Rice is swole, bro.
Yeah. That
Like,
speaks to Benny Wiley, man. He's really, the new strength and conditioning coach. This
love it.
guy has really
Love
came and laid a foundation. And it's all, so many people used to get hurt in training camp at USC prior to this administration coming, but now it really speaks to something special that has been implemented as it relates to health and fitness and wellness, man. And I think we're starting to see that as you alluded to right now.
That's correct. It looks like they have a very good consciousness of their nutrition content, their intake. It doesn't seem like these kids are just goofing around. Matter of fact, I just disrespected them by calling them kids. These are men.
Yeah.
These men are prepared. And I think they've already had a mental agreement with themselves to do what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
I believe as a whole, as a collective, this squad has already signed that agreement to persevere through pain, to push discomfort, to sacrifice every ounce of their comfort level, put that on the shelf in order to have a great impact for this season and to create this new energy for this generation of Trojan USC football.
Absolutely. Now, we had no issues. We all knew that the offense was going to be explosive. Everybody in the country, I think, knows that. Now, I noticed in my comment section, I went live immediately after the game. There's a couple people that still kind of hesitant as it relates to the defense. And I get it. I understand the defensive front as far as trying to compete and trying to make it all the way, maybe against the Utah, Notre Dame, whoever. I know we got to be, stronger up front. What is your impressions overall from the defensive front perspective and the defensive line perspective?
I think everyone played new positions, new techniques in a new scheme for the very first time. That was the very first time any of those players have played this defensive scheme. That was also, with the exception, I think, of the corner that came from Oklahoma.
Right.
And he played well too.
He did.
He rocked number 21, right?
Yeah. McCutcheon. I think he had a sack too.
Yes, he had a sack.
Yeah.
So he understood. So you can tell coach trusted him to run that sack. Because he's not a starter, but he trusted him to run that blitz.
Absolutely.
Because he's familiar with that scheme.
Right.
You understand? Right. So if you guys understand the nuances of football, like coaches, they're going to trust certain players in certain situations.
Absolutely.
Like I may trust Max Williams in this one isolated situation to cover this nickelback in this dime type position. And so I'm going to bring him out from free safety or strong safety. I'm going to put another safety back there and then let him do this matchup right here because I recognize that he has the skills for that particular
Right.
play.
And the timing got to be on point for that.
And it has to be. You got to get guys that are comfortable in that space. So what I'm saying is I saw a bunch of people play a defense for the very first time against a new opponent. And they looked uncertain about 10 to 15% of the time, and that's expected.
Right.
But the fact that they were uncertain and were still able to make so many amazing plays, TFLs, the short yardage stoppages that they had in the run game, even the secondary was still playing very well.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, we didn't use our most aggressive defense for this game.
Right.
That was our base package. That was our base defense.
Right.
So with understanding that and knowing that in our base defenses, we can create that many turnovers and that much disruption, that much confusion.
Absolutely.
That is extremely encouraging. And you can tell the difference between the first half and the second half in run fit support. And all those D linemen understanding, oh man, I've been wrong shouldering this when really I'm supposed to keep my outside hand free and hold his edge. Like you can see it in a couple of Corey Foreman's plays. If anybody will ever go to YouTube and watch the game, there was on two of the big run plays that got around the edge. And those were the two most explosive plays they had in the whole game. It was Corey dove in, and I'm not throwing shade at Corey because I don't know if he was supposed to spill it or if he was supposed to.
Right. We're just breaking it down.
But he ran in with like Thor, bro, with the strength of Zeus.
Right.
And he threw his wrong shoulder in, and it created a soft edge. And then the running back.
Right.
And I watched that play. I watched him do that 2 or 3 times, and each time it spilled. Then I watched it again later, and he was no longer hitting it with the wrong shoulder. He was
Right.
keeping his outside hand free, and they did none of that. So
Right.
it was just very minor adjustments on
Yeah.
which shoulder pad to use when you're trying to hit a gap. So when they went in
Absolutely.
at halftime, it was interesting that the coaches kept saying, "Oh, we just had a very small tweak, and that was it.
That was it.
That was
That
it."
was it.
So for everybody discouraged by that, okay, yeah, if you have poor discipline and gap support later in the season, I think past game 3, then it might be a issue. Right
Right.
now in game 1, where you're learning your fits and you're trying to understand what an old lineman is trying to do to you in full speed, when you figure it out, you don't make those same mistakes anymore.
Absolutely.
And that big run down the middle, I'm going to tell you, he used the ref as a screen.
Right. Right. Most definitely. You were right down there where you could see it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he ran right towards the referee and then bounced around him, and the DB, that was Gentry, ran into the ref.
Right. Right.
I believe that was Gentry or maybe it was Kalen. I don't know, but it was the one where Kalen hawked him down.
Right. Right.
Now let's talk about that effort.
Oh my God, man, that's man, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. And Caleb Bullock was mine. Who was your most defense? Who were you impressed by the most defensively and offensively? Caleb Bullock by far, man. I mean, this guy is a ball hawk, man.
He really is. So Kalen, anything in that secondary, I feel really good about.
Man. So what do you think about Max? Couple, right there with Caleb.
I love Max there. If you notice, Max was on top the whole game. He was never out
of
position.
Yeah. It actually looked like a pretty good fit.
And Max is more of a dime nickel. So for him to step back there and play safety until Alfred gets better, yeah. Because he can play safety and he plays it at a pretty high level.
Yeah,
he's really comfortable with being in the face of those little slot receivers. So I was really exceptionally proud of how he communicated, and he looked like a veteran. He looked like he's supposed to be there. So I was really proud of that. I was super impressed with Shane's tackling ability.
Oh my God.
I mean, he was very much like one and done. If he touched you, the play did not get extended.
Right.
I really love that. And Gentry's ability to go left and right from that middle position.
Man, I'm telling you, that guy, just his size and be able to do that, he really impresses me, man.
He did.
He really impressed me.
And unbeknownst to people, Corey Foreman created a lot of hell.
On Saturday when I went live, I told a lot of people that the edge rushing that Corey was doing, once Ramilo Height came in and Corey had figured out that it was just going to be on him, it was like the light bulb turned on, because some of those interceptions, when I went back and looked, he was causing pressure and the quarterback had to come up do some kind of crazy throws, and it was kind of altering his throw. Now, some of the receivers should have caught the ball, but it was causing an altering throw to where it might have been just a little slightly off opposed to being in front of the receiver. What are your thoughts?
I believe you're 100%. I think he accounted for maybe 2 out of 3 out of the 4 interceptions.
Right.
And what we can't see is it's called a hurry. It's called a quarterback hurry.
Absolutely.
DBs will feast if a D line can create a hurry.
Man.
Because the quarterback is throwing it out of position. The quarterback doesn't have the ability to set his feet the right way and deliver the trajectory accurately. And that's when a secondary guy can really take advantage of a ball. And the receivers aren't accustomed to balls coming in bad position. That's why they're tipping so many of them, because they're used to certain placement. And if the quarterback just had to throw it really quick because to avoid a sack coming from backside pressure, or just somebody's at his feet, or somebody's flashing in front of his face with his hands, like Corey was in beast
mode, man.
And he really was, and he was faster than a lot of their receivers.
Right.
There's some plays where you see Corey running downfield and he's gaining on receivers that are moving in the open field. I was like, yo, this dude he's the predator. He's different.
He's different. And Leonard Williams during the spring, Leonard Williams didn't even know his name. Right. And he was on the field during a spring game, and he said whoever number 0 is. And so we know that he has this ability, man. It was just a matter of him turning that light bulb on or allowing that light bulb to come on, man, to let all these, the coaches said this guy has the tools. And I think we're starting to see a turn with this guy, man. Ramilo Height going out was probably one of the best things that happened, in Saturday's game.
It gave him the ability to realize that if he made a mistake, he would still have an opportunity to overcome it.
Yes.
That's one thing about competition. Competition can bring out the very best and sometimes the worst insecurities in a player. And I don't believe Corey is insecure at all. However, but to ask the guy who is always a hand in the dirt type of defensive end, then now to stand up and kind of play a more like a linebacker hybrid defensive end type edge guy, that's tricky, especially
very tricky
when you're used to beating guys from a credit card alignment where you're nose to nose with a dude and you can outburst them off the jump and then beat them with your speed. Now you're playing back a little bit. And so you don't have the advantage of having your same type of techniques that you've been successful with. Like we all have to realize, whether we want to or not, that this is not the same traditional defenses that we've used.
It's not.
We also have to realize that this is the type of defense that's a bend but don't break philosophy.
Right.
This is a defense that is designed to create a little bit of confusion and disruption to where quarterbacks have to make perfect plays.
Absolutely.
Because
they're essentially rolling with 5 DBs.
That's it. Because if quarterbacks and receivers can't get eye to eye, then we're going to have multiple turnovers a game just like we did. That's what type of defense this is. It's not a standard like line up, bust you in the mouth, like brute force. This is a scheme type defense that allows for players to be a little bit smaller, leaner, quicker, but more advantageous when it comes to disruptive plays.
Right. So let me ask you, so on a goal line situation, though, what do you think as far as some type of package, a different type of package opposed to the defense that we've been running kind of needs to be, to offer us some type of blitz packages coming in on goal line? What's your thoughts on that?
So I think that as the season progresses, we'll understand who our tanks are in the middle. We'll understand which guys in game situations are going to be those bruisers that can actually just like impose their will on the defensive line. A lot of people got reps. A lot of guys played in this game.
They did a lot.
I mean, a lot of guys played some of their first football. And like, just speaking from a defensive perspective, is it Dejon Benton?
Yeah, he was balling.
My gosh.
He was balling.
He reminded me of Cedric Ellis.
Yeah.
He low-key
like last year, where was he at? The development.
He reminded me a little bit of Mike Patterson. And I'm like, yo, we got to consider that this almost like his rookie year, even though he's not a rookie.
Man, he was incredible.
So like these dudes are going to get better. No one got injured.
Man, that's great. It was great.
No one.
That was great.
Anything critical that was messing with him. Our second string quarterback is just as capable as our first string.
Absolutely.
And the defense as a whole, they like each other.
They like each other, man.
They see that they like each other. They like to celebrate with one another.
Absolutely.
And there aren't individuals out there playing a one-on-one game in a team setting. These are a bunch of dudes playing as one team and rocking and rolling together. Like
let's deal with that for just a second.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that crossed my mind when you mentioned Latrell McCutcheon. This guy came from Oklahoma, and you would think, okay, well, he would probably have a mentality, I want to start. Lincoln Riley brought me over here. But it seems to your point here, it seems that everybody's bought into where you're not, even if you're not starting right now, you have the mentality that it's no I in team. We're all one. And as a result, when I come in as a second string, I'm going to give that same effort. And then not only that, in turn, I'm going to root on the guy that's in front of me. Yes. And because it's all one team. What do you think about that?
So I think that that's completely the philosophy. Whether they're saying it or not, they're living it. They're
right.
That they're playing. They're living it with how they celebrated one another. I've seen so many dudes doing the barbarian brother like arm. I saw the DBs doing their own custom handshakes, and it was a great perspective to see it up close and live, and actually to see the stature of the players and like. I was thinking, dang, was I this big? And, these dudes look big, like they look big and explosive.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm 6'2", 235,
yeah,
236, right around there. But I'm standing next to some of our DBs and some of the wideouts, and I'm thinking like I would consider these dudes big. I would
yeah.
consider these hey, and the linemen, they all had their heads was like as big as my chest. I'm like, yeah, man. From television, you don't see it,
Yeah,
see that perspective, but we have a pretty sizable, athletic, explosive team.
yeah,
So I'm not really concerned with the goal line stuff quite yet. I don't believe that that's going to be something I'm consistently worried about because I do think that even though there were starters with
hmm,
how the coaching staff was able to get everyone involved, I'd be willing to wager that the starters had about a similar amount of reps as the backup guys
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the rotation was fluid.
The rotation, it was like that on offense and defense. And I was actually looking at the numbers here on offense. The receivers, man, I mean, everybody, Taj Washington had 4 catches, Jordan Addison 5 catches, Mario Williams 2 catches, Gary Bryant Jr. 1 catch, Raleek Brown 2 catches, Kyron Ware Hudson 3 catches, Austin Jones 1 catch. I mean, Brandon Rice 1 catch. Everybody,
Kyle Ford had another deep ball.
yeah, Kyle Ford had a deep ball for was
right.
it 20 yards, I think.
20 yards, and he looked like he's supposed to look, and he's going to be more of a factor probably.
Yeah.
I'd imagine too. From the 25 going in, Kyle Ford he's a maniac. He can go.
Big time.
CJ Williams got in there and caught him.
He got in there, yeah, absolutely. CJ, he had 11 yards. He had 1 catch for 11 yards.
Heck yeah! So that lets me know how capable everyone is, how focused our quarterbacks are on making sure that they feed everybody. I don't think they were forcing the ball in any way. The fact that the offense was so designed to work skillfully with each of these types of receivers' running abilities, and speaking of running abilities. Bro, I'm so proud of Travis Dye.
Man, he's a leader, man.
I'm so
he's
proud
a leader.
of his willingness to put his body on the line for his brothers.
Like
he was running down the field trying to block for receivers
20
yards ahead of him. And I'm thinking that's the type of guy that we've needed here.
Yeah.
Austin Jones with his tackle breaking ability, he got a little bit of, I don't want to even use this dude's name, but he was legit. I'm gonna say Maurice Jones-Drew. He got a little bit of that in him.
Yeah.
And then Raleek.
Oh my God. Hey, well, let me ask you this, because you here. Everybody think this is blasphemy what I've been saying, man. They say now you played on the field with Reggie Bush.
I did.
And I can't help. I just see flashes of Reggie. And am I wrong? I mean, what do you see when you see Raleek?
So I see a little bit of a hybrid between like a Ronald Jones and a Joe McKnight.
Oh, okay, I got you. And those are 2 good ones.
And those are both All-American. They were both amazing running backs. So the only reason I don't say Reggie just quite yet, is because Reggie's vision was
incredible.
I haven't seen Raleek have an opportunity to showcase his vision just quite yet.
Right.
And that's the only way I'll say it. But I see the top end speed of a Ronald Jones, of a Reggie, and a Joe, and all them dudes.
Yeah. Were you impressed by him as first? He didn't get that many. He only had, let's see, Raleek had he had
about 4 or 5.
Yeah, he had 6 carries for 36 yards. Yeah. And he 2 catches for 40 yards.
I wasn't impressed. I was exuberant. That's a true freshman.
And man, he looked just explosive.
That's a true freshman that went out there and made 22-year-olds, 21-year-old dudes from the other team look like JV players.
Absolutely.
And he has that capability. But here's what I loved about him more. He didn't miss any of his pass pro assignments. He didn't miss any of his blocking assignments. He was available in the pass game. He was just as focused to catch the ball as he was to run it. And when he's out there, he's as much of a threat as a Jordan Addison at wide receiver.
So did you move to the stadium part, or were you still on the field when Raleek was on the field?
I was on the field with one of his, I think his first touchdown.
Uh-huh.
And then when he did some of his other long runs, I was in the stands looking at the overhead.
So that first touchdown, you were able to see field level of how he actually looked, and you had a good. So that's a good assessment of him then.
Bro, he's a Cardinal and Gold lightning bolt.
Man.
And his movements are really clean. And the reason I say it's not Reggie, because Reggie's moves were powerful, like boom, they were big. And like when Reggie juked you, that was like 3 yards of separation.
Right.
Raleek, which interesting, they both got the same initials, RB.
RB. Yeah.
Raleek's moves are micro moves. Like a centimeter. Doop, and then you go boop boop. That's what he's glitchy and twitchy, like he's a cheat code. He really is.
He is, man. He is. And now that you say that, he does remind me. I remember Joe McKnight. He was smooth. Joe McKnight was extremely smooth with it. And now that you say that, I can see the Raleek and Joe McKnight type of movements.
Yes.
It almost seemed like Raleek is a little faster
than Joe.
Maybe than Joe. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Or maybe I'm thinking of Joe his junior years, because Joe could roll, bro.
Oh, he can roll. I mean,
I haven't had a chance to see Raleek in the open field enough to track his stride pattern.
Yeah.
Because I track guys' stride patterns by how much yardage they eat up per stride. For example, I know you rolling, bro. If you're running 5 yards every like 2 strides.
2 strides, yeah.
Understand? Yeah. The average guy, like when you look at Kalen's interception, he's 5 yards every 2.5 strides. That means he's capable of running like a 4.3.
But the thing about him with that is, when I went back and looked at his interception and his strides, he had long strides. So I guess it didn't look as fast as what you would think it was. But I've seen him pulling away from people.
No, he was covering ground, bro.
He was pulling away from people.
That's like a Usain Bolt type stuff.
Yeah, he was pulling. And he looked like he had track form the way he was running.
Hey, brother, I'm talking about technically efficient.
He had track form.
He was butt kicking a little bit, but at the same time, he didn't need that lift like that to get out. But number 21 was right on him. So that's what I'm telling you. Like, the overall team speed for what we have is pretty dynamic. Raleek Brown is the future. He's going to be one of those all-purpose players in the country, pending he stays healthy. And the team can create the packages that highlight his gifts. He's the type of guy that's like in the same conversation of a Darren Sproles, of a Reggie Bush, of a Dory Jackson type guy that could just do so many things for your team, that I can't wait to see when they finally trust him to run kickoffs and punts.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to take a couple of. We got about 6 minutes. I want to take a couple of questions.
Let's go.
And just read some of these comments. So what is your thoughts? So, let's see. This is Guy Smithson. Utah is good, even though they lost. What's your thought on? Somebody says Utah is better than USC. What is your thought from your observation as far as what you've seen over the weekend? I don't know if you had a chance to see Utah
until USC beats them. Okay, that's a valid statement. They won. They beat us last year. So I can't say I'm better than you if you bested me the last time.
Right.
If I arm wrestled you and you beat me, then you are better than me until I prove otherwise. So true statement. However, when I start to look at athlete for athlete after watching that game, I can see that Utah has a lot of good running power. I don't know if they'll be able to outscore USC though. Right. Because I saw USC use the most basic combinations of routes, and just there were holes everywhere in the
right. I think with that, there's so much going on within the offense that Lincoln Riley has designed. It's almost impossible for defenders to really double team anybody. You gotta man up on everybody, man. It's almost impossible.
You have to win a lot of one-on-one battles with USC, and I think that spreads a defensive secondary thin throughout the course of a game. They may have some success early, but by the second half, DBs they fatigue if you've got to go against every time you line up, whoever that receiver is a number one receiver.
Right. Every single body.
And your DBs, there are not very many high-level DBs. You may get one on each team.
Yes.
And that one might be good. But
Yes.
those other 4 or 5 better be able to hang with your other dudes. And so we'll see.
Absolutely.
Right? That's all I can say. I got no shade against Utah, but I just feel like by the time we play Utah, our special teams are going to be off the Richter scale.
Absolutely. We got about 78 people in here in the chat. We're getting ready to shut it down, but looking ahead, I think, in my opinion, you can tell me what you think. It's very, well, let me get this. Oscar, can the linebacker step up and stop Stanford's run game? If so, could there be another blowout? What's your thoughts on that? Stanford does run the similar offense as USC.
You know what? I think this whole week is going to be very run fit specific. I believe that we're going to be tightening up on how we're engaging in the gaps and how we're collapsing the pocket against the quarterback. And I do think that we will have a lot more success in the run game this upcoming week, particularly with positioning to the strong side of the running attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most of their big runs came to the weak side
of
the field. And so with understanding how to just make those small adjustments, I don't know that it's going to be a huge problem. Of course, explosive teams are going to make explosive plays from time to time, but you can't judge a defense for giving up 1 or 2 explosive plays a game if they're able to shut down 85 to 90% of the rest of the game.
Right. That's good. That's a good. One more question. Ruben, what's your overall projection for Stanford game? Do you think Alex Grinch will make the necessary weak adjustments to protect against the wide open holes?
I agree, but you got to tell me which wide open holes you're referring to, because I didn't see many.
Right.
I saw 2, maybe 3, like I said, and of those 2 or 3, one was like maybe a 14-yard gain, another 20-yard gain, and then a big run that the referee was used as a pick.
Right. That's good. And I think that's about it. We know we got to let you go, man. Listen, we appreciate you coming by, man. That's good observation, good insight on what you've seen being on the field. Man, we appreciate you, man. We got great expectations, and listen, we're gonna have you back for some more observations after some of these games, man.
Hey, let's do it, man.
All right, hey, Trojan family, we out of here. We have about 80 people in here. We appreciate everybody for tapping in early morning. Listen, fight on. Let's thank Big John for coming in.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to join the neighborhood. There was only one thing I was upset at in the whole game. Well, first I'll say all the alumni that were there, we're so excited. Like the whole energy inside of that, it reminded me of like 2001 through 2005. It really did.
Yeah.
So that I want to speak on. But the only thing I was disappointed in is, and no shade on this young man, but I saw a punter with Ronnie Lott's jersey on. Brother, I lost my dreads. I could not. I was like, wait, whoa. Wait, we got to talk about that, coaching staff. That's a legendary number. 43, 42.
You should have had one of them jerseys you put on that they
Hey, I said, I don't know, man. We might have to slide that 39 on him. That 42 got to go to like a dog at DB or
man.
For real. But that's just me being nitpicky. But yeah, man, I love the young fellas. I think you guys look out for some stuff. I believe Domani's going to be really healthy by Fresno State.
Yes.
Big shout out to I want to say Blackman played lights out.
Oh, Mekhi Blackman, Colorado transfer. He's a baller, man.
Sierra is a cover corner.
He's the real deal. And that we see why he came up and took that spot, man. He took it by storm.
He's a cover corner. I'm just trying to give love to where it belongs.
Yeah.
Every linebacker did their thing. All the D-linemen did their thing. I'm super proud of the offensive line. They played very sound, and the only time they got penalties was when the second and third group got in. Which we gave up one kind of lot of like rinky-dink sack, but I believe that was a covered sack because the DBs really played well on that play.
Absolutely.
And our QB said, you know what, let me just go and hit the dirt. We have a good team. I gave them a B+ overall. I'm proud that they took advantage of the tip balls and opportunities. We did break a record for interceptions, return for touchdowns. That's never happened in the NCAA. 3 pick
Man,
sixes in one game is
in one game, and 4 overall interceptions, which was
4 overall.
pretty incredible.
So right now we should be leading the nation in defensive turnover ratio.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep on that trend. Have faith in what the coaches are doing, even though you don't fully understand their schemes. Don't expect blowouts every game, especially because I know that this coaching staff is not willing to show all their cards in the beginning.
That's right.
I know that they're going to do the most with the minimum if they can. So please keep that in mind, and you'll see more mix. They played with a little bit of the defensive line stemming. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And they would stem at the last second and create some confusion. Man, that's going to be a headache as they get.
That is going to be. It causes major confusion, and you got guys coming from all over that they have no idea where they're coming from.
So just stick with the defense and put some respect on Coach Grinch's name.
Hey, put some respect on his name, man. He's been getting bad mouth, man. And I told him, hey, listen, he improved Oklahoma by 100 yards when he first came from 2019 to the past prior years, 3 years. So I think it's going to be okay, man, especially as it translates to Pac-12 football, man. It's going to be, I think we're going to be good.
You know it.
So look, John, we appreciate you, man. I know you got to get out of here, man. We'll have you back, man, and we appreciate everything. We got a lot to look forward to. This is Stanford week, so you guys, I'll be back probably tomorrow, and we'll give you some updates on recruiting. We got some other things we got to touch on. So thank you, John, for coming in once again, my man.
Yes, sir. Fight on, everybody.
Fight on.
That's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day.
Don't eat too much barbecue.
I ain't gonna make no promises. You know I'm about to smack.